Hello, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week, get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock, with news that oil price is down almost 4% today. But first in the US, as both presidential candidates campaign against it, the White House is negotiating with Republicans in Congress to ratify the largest regional trade agreement ever, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. No vote will happen before the election, but cross-party negotiations are starting to get it approved just after the vote and before the new president takes office in January. This is a very American solution to a tricky problem, and while the odds may seem long, it is instructive that this is the key priority for a popular president, and clearly the Republican congressional leadership and the president see it as a realistic possibility. South of the border, Mexican economic output fell 0.2% in the June quarter from March, its first decline in 3 years, as a sluggish industrial sector offset continued gains in services. Falling oil output has been one of the main drags on their economy. However, their economy was 2.5% higher than the same quarter a year ago. They're not the only ones being hurt by the lower oil price. The state oil company in Malaysia has seen profitability evaporate. In Australia, their big banks are feeling margin pressure, mainly because most of their mortgages are on a floating rate basis, and the funding for that differs markedly from the way New Zealand subsidiaries fund their mortgage books. The Aussie bank's response has been to pull back on the generous set of institutionalised discounts that have become embedded in their systems. These are now being wound back. On this side of the ditch, the embracing by borrowers of fixed rate terms insulates us somewhat from these types of make the customer pay strategies. Aussie banks base their mortgage funding on the BBSW, that's the bank bill swap rate, a bit like our 90-day bank bill rate. The BBSW was the mechanism that they are accused of illegally manipulating, and despite their denials, a judge in the court case being brought against them has scolded the banks for their attempts to avoid trial. It is not only ASIC who is suing them over this issue. Home loans in Australia are worth about $1.4 trillion. There's a lot at stake in this effort to clean up banker behaviour, and any loss in the case could hit banks hard. In New York, the US Treasury 10-year yield is lower at 1.54% today. The US benchmark oil price is lower as well, falling nearly $2 a barrel to just under $47 a barrel, and the Brent benchmark is just over $49 a barrel. The gold price is down too, to $1,338 an ounce. And the Kiwi dollar will start today unchanged from this time yesterday at 72.7 US cents, at 94.4 Aussie cents and 64.2 Euro cents. The TWI is at 75.5. I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.